Hello, my name is Daniel, and this is my presentation on GPU Bitcoin mining. The first thing that we're going to cover is just some basics of Bitcoins and Bitcoin mining. Then we will go into how Bitcoins were originally mined using the central processing unit of a computer, then eventually how that evolved into mining on the graphical processing unit in a computer. Then how they are currently mined using application-specific integrated circuits. Finally, we will cover how the process and technology of mining is in use for other applications today. Bitcoins are what is known as cryptocurrency. They were developed by someone named Satoshi Nakamoto. Though no one knows who he truly is, it is likely just an alias. Bitcoins are a currency system much like the US dollar, in that it can be used to exchange for goods and services. In fact, some stores such as Overstock.com, Tesla Motor Company, and Reddit all accept Bitcoins. Bitcoins, however, only exist in the computer system. Specifically, they use peer-to-peer networking to manage transactions. This allows for a bankless currency, meaning that, unlike the US dollar, no bank has to be involved with online purchases. This creates anonymity of transactions between users. The entire system relies on a data hashing algorithm to keep everything secure. We'll talk about hashing algorithms and how they work in a bit. Bitcoins, much like gold, are mined. Rather than digging in the earth to find the gold, instead miners run computer calculations called algorithms. These algorithms are what's known as hashing algorithms. They take an input and output a seemingly random string of characters and numbers. So if you take Daniel and run it through a hashing algorithm, you get something like this. Though if you change just one letter to Daniel 7, you get something like this. Bitcoins use what's known as the SHA-256 algorithm. It's a one-way hash, meaning that you're not able to reverse the hash, and it is used for all sorts of things such as passwords, file verification, and cryptocurrency. Though it is theoretically possible to find two inputs that hash to the same thing, it is extremely rare and none are known to exist. The reason the hashing algorithms are used for Bitcoins is because of the randomness of the output of the algorithms. When you're Bitcoin mining, what you're looking for is an output hash that is less than the hash that is put out by the network. So if you have a hash of this, you'll need something like in order to beat it. This means that you need 17 zeros to begin with, which is extremely hard to do. To understand this, finding this many zeros is equivalent to finding a particular grain of sand amongst all grains of sand on Earth. So it's fairly rare, but luckily it's much faster to search all the numbers compared to what it would take to search all the grains of sand. To make matters worse, finding each correct hash is like a race. Imagine miners digging a hole, thousands of them, all digging down to one chunk of gold at the bottom. As soon as somebody finds it, everyone starts all back over again. This creates a race to the hash that will award a set amount of Bitcoins, currently 25. Now there is a lot more to Bitcoin mining that is not being explained here. There are things like difficulty, nonce, adjustments, and many other things. Bitcoins first began being mined in 2009, mostly by people interested in cryptography, though it wasn't used as a currency so much back then. There was not a real way to transfer money to the real world currency. Miners used central processing units on their computer to mine coins. Though different processors mined at a different ability, they were fairly equal for everyone. It was a lot like digging gold, where everybody just has their hands to dig. But everyone knew the faster they could dig, the more likely they were to win. So new technology and methods needed to be used. The next step was using hardware already in most computers. Miners switched over to mining on graphical processing units. These devices are ideal for completing the math needed for the SHA-256 algorithm. Miners began developing mining software using software such as CUDA and OpenCL. Both of these languages allow for information and commands to be sent to the graphical processing unit. CUDA is an NVIDIA-specific proprietary language, while OpenCL is an open source language that operates in a very similar manner. Next, I'll explain a bit about how CUDA works. The first step of CUDA processing is having the CPU transfer the instruction and the data to the GPU memory. This allows the GPU to see the instruction quickly. The CPU then instructs the GPU to look at the memory location and execute the command. The GPU begins executing the command or commands using its unique hardware to complete the hashing algorithm at a faster rate than the CPU can handle it. The CPU then copies the result hash back to the main memory in order to see if the hash is the correct one to mine the bitcoins. This new GPU method was more like digging with a shovel and was far more successful than mining by CPU. Quickly, everyone switched to GPU mining software. But Bitcoin mining is a lot like an arms race. You always want the best. From GPU mining, miners went to a new direction. Miners moved off of personal computers and servers to something called ASICs, which stands for Application Specific Computer Hardware. This was specifically designed hardware that was designed to do one thing: perform the hashing algorithms needed to mine bitcoins. These ASICs changed Bitcoin mining quickly. This wasn't just changing to a backhoe over a shovel, this was changing to an entire team of backhoes. Suddenly, CPU and GPU mining was not worth the electricity needed to run the miners. Currently, ASICs are the standard for Bitcoin mining. Entire companies own warehouses of ASIC running 24/7. ASIC computer developers are just creating faster and faster machines to race to the Bitcoin prize. Though GPUs are no longer viable for Bitcoin mining, the technology is being used in other practices. In astrology, people are using the processing power to calculate radio signals that show up from other galaxies and search for other life. In mathematics, people are attempting to solve previously unsolved problems. Biology, people are testing proteins looking for cures to diseases and cancers. Though the time of GPU Bitcoin mining is nearly ended, new uses for GPU processing are being created and are being put into use all the time. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know.